am Beth. Welcome to today's reading, and we are in 2 Maccabees chapters 10 and 11. Now Maccabeus and his followers, the Lord leading them on, recovered the temple and the city. They tore down the altars that had been built in the public square by the foreigners, and also destroyed the sacred precincts. They purified the sanctuary and made another altar of sacrifice. Taking fire out of flint, they offered sacrifices after a lapse of 2 years. And they offered incense and lighted lamps and set out the bread of the presence. When they had done this, they fell prostrate and implored the Lord that they might never again fall into such misfortunes, but that if they should ever sin, they might be disciplined by him with forbearance and not handed over to blasphemous and barbarous nations. It happened that on the same day on which the sanctuary had been profaned by the foreigners, the purification of the sanctuary took place. That is, on the 25th day of the same month, which was Chislev. They celebrated it for 8 days with rejoicing in the manner of the festival of booths, remembering how, not long before, during the festival of booths, they had been wandering in the mountains and caves like wild animals. Therefore, carrying ivy-wreathed wands and beautiful branches, and also fronds of palm, they offered hymns of thanksgiving to him who had given success to the purifying of his own holy place. They decreed by public edict, ratified by vote, that the whole nation of the Jews should observe these days every year. Such then was the end of Antiochus, who was called Epiphanes. Now we will tell you what took place under Antiochus Eupator, who was the son of that ungodly man, and will give a brief summary of the principal calamities of the wars. This man, when he succeeded to the kingdom, appointed one Lysias to have charge of the government and to be chief governor of Coelesyria and Phoenicia. Ptolemy, who was called Macron, took the lead in showing justice to the Jews because of the wrong that had been done to them, and attempted to maintain peaceful relations with them. As a result, he was accursed before Eupator by the king's friends. He heard himself called a traitor at every turn because he had abandoned Cyprus, which Philometor had entrusted to him, and had gone over to Antiochus Epiphanes. Unable to command the respect due to his office, he took poison and ended his life. When Gorgias became governor of the region, he maintained a force of mercenaries, and at every turn kept attacking the Jews. Besides this, the Idumeans, who had control of important strongholds, were harassing the Jews. They received those who were banished from Jerusalem and endeavored to keep up the war. But Maccabeus and his forces, after making solemn supplication and imploring God to fight on their side, rushed to the strongholds of the Idumeans, attacking them vigorously. They gained possession of the places and beat off all who fought upon the wall, and slaughtered those whom they encountered, killing no fewer than 20,000. When at least 9,000 took refuge in 2 very strong towers, well equipped to withstand siege, Maccabeus left Simon and Joseph, and also Zacchaeus and his troops, a force sufficient to besiege them, and he himself set off for places where he was more urgently needed. Those with Simon, who were money hungry, were bribed by some of those who were in the towers, and on receiving 70,000 drachmas, let some of them slip away. When word of what happened came to Maccabeus, he gathered the leaders of the people and accused these men of having sold their kindred for money by setting their enemies free to flight against them. Then he killed these men who had turned traitor, and immediately captured the 2 towers, having success at arms at everything he undertook. He destroyed more than 20,000 in the 2 strongholds. Now Timothy, who had been defeated by the Jews before, gathered a tremendous force of mercenaries and collected the cavalry from Asia in no small number. He came on, intending to take Judea by storm. As he drew near, Maccabeus and his men sprinkled dust on their heads and girded their loins with sackcloth in supplication to God. Falling upon the steps before the altar, they implored him to be gracious to them, and to be an enemy to their enemies, and an adversary to their adversaries, as the law declares. And rising from their prayer, they took up their arms and advanced a considerable distance from the city. And when they came near, the enemy halted. They halted. Just as dawn was breaking, the 2 armies joined battle, the one having as pledge of success and victory not only their valor, but also their reliance on the Lord, while the other made rage their leader in the fight. When the battle became fierce, there appeared to the enemy from heaven 5 resplendent men on horses with golden bridles, and they were leading the Jews. 2 of them took Maccabeus between them, and shielding him with their own armor and weapons, they kept him from being wounded. They showered arrows and thunderbolts on the enemy, so that, confused and blinded, they were thrown into disorder and cut to pieces. 20,500 were slaughtered, besides 600 cavalry. Timothy himself fled to a stronghold called Gazara, especially well garrisoned, where Chaereas was commander. Then Maccabeus and his men were glad, and they besieged the fort for 4 days. The men within, relying on the strength of the place, kept blaspheming terribly and uttering wicked words. But at dawn, on the 5th day, 20 young men in the army of Maccabeus, fired with anger because of the blasphemies, bravely stormed the wall and with savage fury cut down everyone they met. Others who came up in the same way wheeled around against the defenders and set fire to the towers. They kindled fires and burned the blasphemers alive. Others broke open the gates and let in the rest of the force, and they occupied the city. They killed Timothy, who was hiding in a cistern, and his brother Chaereas, and Apollophane. When they had accomplished these things with hymns and thanksgiving, they blessed the Lord, who shows great kindness to Israel and gives them victory. Very soon after this, Lysias, the king's guardian and kinsman, who was in charge of the government, being vexed at what had happened, gathered about 80,000 infantry and all his cavalry and came against the Jews. He intended to make the city a home for Greeks and to levy tribute on the temple, as he did on the sacred places of other nations, and to put up the high priesthood for sale every year. He took no account of whatever the power of God, but was elated with his 10,000 of infantry, and his thousands of cavalry, and his 80 elephants. Invading Judea, he approached Bethzur, which was a fortified place about 5 stadia from Jerusalem, and pressed it hard. When Maccabeus and his men got word that Lysias was besieging the strongholds, they and all the people, with lamentations and tears, prayed to the Lord to send a good angel to save Israel. Maccabeus himself was the first to take up arms, and he urged the others to risk their lives with him to aid their kindred. Then they eagerly rushed off together, and there, while they were still near Jerusalem, a horseman appeared at their head, clothed in white, brandishing weapons of gold. And together they all praised the merciful God, and were strengthened in heart, ready to not only assail not only humans, but the wildest animals or walls of iron. They advanced in battle order, having their heavenly ally, for the Lord had mercy on them. They hurled themselves like lions against the enemy, and laid low 11,000 of them, and 1,600 cavalry, and forced all the rest to flee. Most of them got away stripped and wounded, and Lysias himself escaped by disgraceful flight. As he was not without intelligence, he pondered over the defeat that had befallen him and realized that the Hebrews were invincible because of the mighty God fought on their side. So he sent to them and persuaded them to settle everything on just terms, promising that he would persuade the king, constraining him to be their friend. Maccabeus, having regard for the common good, agreed to all that Lysias urged, for the king granted every request in behalf of the Jews, which Maccabeus delivered to Lysias in writing. The letter written to the Jews by Lysias was to this effect: Lysias, to the people of the Jews, greetings. John and Absalom, who were sent by you, have delivered your signed communication and have asked about the matters indicated on it. Lysias, to the people of the Jews, greetings. John and Absalom, who were sent by you, have delivered your signed communication, and have asked about the matters indicated in it. I have informed the king of everything that needed to be brought before him, and he has agreed to what was possible. If you will maintain your goodwill toward the government, I will endeavor in the future to help promote your welfare. And concerning such matters and their details, I have ordered these men and my representatives to confer with you. Farewell. To the 148th year, Dicorintheus 24. The king's letter ran thus: King Antiochus to his brother Lysias, greetings. Now that our father has gone on to the gods, we desire that the subjects of the kingdom be undisturbed in caring for their own affairs. We have heard that the Jews do not consent to our father's change to Greek customs, but prefer their own way of living, and ask that their own customs be allowed them. Accordingly, since we chose that this nation should also be free from disturbance, our decision is that their temple be restored to them, and that they shall live according to the customs of their ancestors. You will do well then, therefore, to send word to them and give them pledges of friendship, so that they may know our policy and be of good cheer and go on happily in the conduct of their own affairs. To the nation, the king's letter was as follows. King Antiochus, to the Senate of the Jews, and to the other Jews, greetings. If you are well, it is as we desire. We also are in good health. Menelaus has informed us that you wish to return home and look after your own affairs. Therefore, those who go home by the 13th of Xanthicus will have our pledge of friendship and full permission for the Jews to enjoy their own food and laws, just as formerly, and none of them shall be molested in any way for what may have been done in ignorance. And also I have sent Menelaus to encourage you. Farewell. The 148th year, Xanthicus 15th. The Romans also sent them a letter, which read thus: Quintus, Memmius, and Titus Manius, in envoys of the Romans, to the people of the Jews, greetings. With regard to what Lysias, the kinsman of the king, has granted we also give consent. But as to the matters that he decided, are to be referred to the king as soon as you have considered them. Send someone promptly, so that we may make proposals appropriate for you. For we are on our way to Antioch. Therefore, make haste and send messengers, so that we may have your judgment. Farewell, the 148th year, Xanthicus 15th. 1 John chapter 4. Beloved, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits, to see whether they are from God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. This is how you know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Yeshua, the Messiah, has come in the body is from God, and every spirit that does not confess that Yeshua the Messiah has come in the body is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard is coming and is already in the world. You are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because he who is in you is greater than he who is in the world. They are of the world, and therefore they speak from the world, and the world listens to them. We are of God, and whoever knows God listens to us. Whoever is not of God does not listen to us. This is how we know the spirit of truth and the spirit of error live through him. In this is love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be the anointing sacrifice for our sins. Beloved, if God so loved us, we must also love one another. No one has seen God at any time. If we love one another, God dwells in us, and his love is perfected in us. We know that we live in him, and he in us, because he has given us his Spirit. And we have seen and testify that the Father sent the Son to be the Savior of the world. Whoever confesses that Yeshua is the Son of God, God lives in him, and he in God. And we have come to know and believe the love that God has for us. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God and God in him. In this way, God's love is perfected in us, so that we may have the boldness on the day of judgment, because as he is, so are we in this world. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. Whoever fears is not perfect in love. We love him because he first loved us. If anyone says, I love God, and hates his brother, he is a liar. For whoever does not love his brother whom he has seen, how can he love God whom he has not seen? We have this commandment from him: whoever loves God must also love his brother. Psalm 26. Judge me, O Lord, for I have walked in my integrity. I have trusted in the Lord. I will not slip. Examine me, O Lord, and test me. Try my affections and my heart, for your loving kindness is before my eyes, and I have walked in your truth. I have not sat with the worthless, nor will I go with the hypocrites. I have hated the congregation of evildoers, and will not sit with the wicked. I will wash my hands in innocence. Thus I will go around your altar, O Lord, that I may proclaim with the voice of thanksgiving, and tell of all your wondrous works. Lord, I have loved the refuge of your house, and the place where your honor dwells. Do not gather my soul with sinners, nor my life with murderers, in whose hands is wickedness, and their right hand is full of bribes. But as for me, I will walk in my integrity. Redeem me and be gracious to me. My foot stands in an even place. With the congregations I will bless the Lord. 26. As snow in summer, and as rain in harvest, so honor is not seemly for a fool. As the bird by flitting, as the swallow by flying, so the curse without cause will not alight. A whip for the horse, a bridle for the donkey, and a rod for the fool's back. Do not answer a fool according to his folly, lest you also be like unto him. Answer a fool according to his folly, lest he be wise in his own conceit. He who sends a message by the hand of a fool cuts off the feet and drinks violence. The legs of the lame are not equal. So is a parable in the mouth of fools. As he who binds a stone in a sling, so is he who gives honor to a fool. As a thorn goes into the hand of a drunkard, so is a parable in the mouth of fools. The great God who formed all things rewards the fool and rewards the transgressor. As a dog returns to its vomit, so a fool returns to his folly. Do you see a man wise in his own conceit? There is more hope for a fool than for him. The slothful man says, there is a lion in the way. A lion is in the streets. As the door turns upon his hinges, so does the slothful upon his bed. The slothful buries his hand in his bowl. It grieves him to bring it against his mouth. The sluggard is wiser in his own conceit than 7 men who can answer reasonably. He who passes by and meddles with strife, not belonging to him, is like one who takes a dog by the ears. As a madman who casts firebrands, arrows, and death, so is the man who deceives his neighbor and says, I was only joking. Where there is no wood, the fire goes out. So where there is no talebearer, the strife ceases. As charcoal is to burning coals, and wood to fire, so is a contentious man to kindle strife. The words of a talebearer are as wounds, and go down into the innermost parts of the body. Burning lips and a wicked heart are like earthenware, covered with silver dross. He who hates dissemblies in speaking, but lays up deceit within himself. When he speaks kindly, do not believe him, for there are 7 abominations in his heart. Though his hatred is covered by deceit, his wickedness will be shown before the whole congregation. Whoever digs a pit will fall into it, and he who rolls a stone, it will return upon him. A lying tongue hates those who are afflicted by it, and a flattering mouth works ruin. Thus ends the reading for today. Never walk alone.